Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. We are glad to see you on our live interactive webinar that is dedicated to creation first ODA-based application. It will be quite simple, but I hope that it will help to emphasize the key aspects, and it will help you to accelerate your learning curve and to have a quicker start with the ODA applications. First of all, of course, we'll start with a brief review, and the first point is that what is actually ODA? It's a not-for-profit development consortium with the key idea of a 100-year commitment. That means that we organize our work and all our processes in order to guarantee a long-term reliable support for the products that we provide. Currently, we have 1,200 members in 50 countries, and those are different companies, starting with small startups and finishing with large and mature corporations. The company is increasing. The number of products that is provided by the company is also increasing, and now we have about 90 engineers in the company working on the products that ODA provides. A brief overview of our SDKs is the following. This diagram shows it quite well and in a quite straightforward manner. Inside the diagram, you see the formats that support it, and the diagram ring illustrates the possibilities, the available manipulations with those formats, such as collaboration, visualization, creation, access, and publishing. And as we all asked you, moving forward to our key goal, to have a look and to apply for trial archives. And just a reminder of the prerequisites. To apply for trial membership, it's necessary to have the valid email address, to get the credentials and links for download. And as for the very trial archives, it is possible to use them on Windows only and with Visual Studio 2017. So please double check that you have Visual Studio 2017, so all our next steps are possible to be done for you. And again, as a reminder, just the link for the free trial application in case you miss something. And please include the Drawings SDK when you perform the application, because our today's example will be based on Drawings SDK. In case you have any questions, if there appear any issues or whatever happens, please do not hesitate and write us into the chat so we could provide you hands-on immediate assistance. As I said, our today's webinar is live and fully interactive. Looks thus for your info, the record of this webinar will be available. It will be uploaded and provided on our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to download and to reproduce the steps that will be shown here. One additional significant point to pay attention to, because sometimes people treat information not entirely correct. I mean now the difference between the trial and the regular archives. And the key differences are the following. Activations. Activations should be performed with trial archives on every desktop you wish to try. So you design something with the trial archives, you need to have it activated. You developed an application, a proof of concept, whatever, and wish to show it to your supervisor, to your colleagues, to your potential or existing customer on his or her desktop. Again, on that desktop, it's necessary to activate the archives again. With regular archives, there is no need in the activation on the end user desktop. So your end users will just get the result and work, even if they do not have the access to internet. Operation systems. Again, you face the limitation that trial archives are Windows only, but the regular archives are not only for Windows, but for Windows, Linux, and macOS. That's about all our SDKs. And for major part of the SDKs, you can also download archives for Android and iOS. As an example, I will open the our member download page. Just show it. And if we pick up the Drawings SDK, you see that first of all, there is a long list of operation systems available. And if we need Windows and you see that there are many Visual Studio versions. And additionally, if we go back to this slide and to the last point, configurations. Trial archives are release only, and for regular archives, there is a wide set of archives available, including the debug modes. And I think the last slide before we start the actual steps and start developing our simple application is the following. Trial archives are stored in a special storage that is available through this link. So it gives you the following possibility. For instance, you didn't apply for some product, but you revealed that you need it. You can freely go and download it with your trial credentials within your trial period without any problems. Or on the contrary, you applied for too many SDKs and your archive turns too big, so you can reshape it and have it in a more appropriate manner shape. So no problems about it. I just pay attention to this item because some trial members lose this offsite and face some issues, and their work is not too efficient. And the next important item is that you always need kernel. Kernel archive is a mandatory prerequisite for all our SDKs. Sometimes people lose this offsite and thus also face some issues. As an example, let's try and simulate some case. For instance, your goal is to create 3D PDFs from DWG files. Then you need the following set of archives. You need kernel archive as a mandatory prerequisite. You need drawings archive to provide native support of DWG format. And you need PRC plus publish to create 3D PDFs. Briefly, that's it. In a similar manner, you can pick up necessary archives for you and shape your final development component. And as for the activation, you know that's necessary. I think you know to follow this link to generate your activation key. In case you face any issues or you need to have additional activation key to show it to your, as I said, supervisors, colleagues, or customers, just write us using this email address, just address our support, and it will be provided. Last, I think just a brief overview, a short slide, what you get when you download the archives. Briefly, all the pre-built examples that are available, and there are available some pre-built examples, can be divided into 4 groups. File creators, dampers, and data extractors, exporters, and importers, and visualizers. So you can pick up any of the examples as a starting point for your development. Probably it also may shorten the time required for your work. Okay, now let us start and create our simple first application based on Drawings SDK. What we need to do? We need to have the merged archive. We have it right here. As you see, we have kernel and drawings merged together in one archive. I mean the content of these 2 archives. I opened the following solution. Here in platforms, there are 2 Visual Studio solutions, one with kernel examples and one with drawings examples. I opened the one with the drawings examples. As you see, there are 2 groups for DGN support and for DWG support. And so let us start and add a new project. Let it be a console application because we will create a very simple one just to emphasize the key prerequisites necessary to start working. And if you have any questions, if you cannot reproduce the steps, you try and cannot reproduce the steps, please write us in the chat, and we'll be glad to help and assist you with your situation, so you can follow us from the very beginning up to the very end, up to first application being up and running. Okay, we have this first application. Now we need to make the necessary settings, changes to the project. Open the project properties. And first of all, we will adjust the output directory. So our application gets, the result, the build result of our test project gets to the same folder with all other pre-built examples and all other DLLs. That's it. The next item. Next item, we open the C++ general and append the additional include directories. What we need to do, we need to append the directories related to ODA specifics. So those are the following: kernel base, it's clear from the name. We use this extensions folder. And include folder. But we also have kernel. Here we also need to add the extensions X services folder. And include folder. And two similar folders should be added for drawing as well. Extensions X services. And include. And now we will add one more folder that is also necessary, but I will provide information about this folder a bit later, before we build the application. The next item, we switch to linker options, and here we also need to append the additional library directories. Here we need to add just two directories. The one, the exe, appending the ODA specifics here, and lib. And in the input tab, we need to append additional dependencies. Again, and the ODA specifics. What we add here? We add here to speed up our development to libs. In the examples, the next key, the lib for memory allocation, and several very basic clips. To answer your questions where you can get the information, it's possible to get the information in the documentation. Every documentation for every archive, for every SDK, includes the section determining which libraries to use, and you can read the description of the libraries, so you can pick up one according to a task, for instance, for export or import or any other task. We apply all these changes. Overall, as a reminder, we adjust here. In general, we adjusted the output path. In C++ general, we added additional include directories. In linker general, we added additional library directories. And in the input, we provided the additional dependencies. That's it. Now, let's get to our source code. And it's necessary to add the necessary include directives. In our case, we'll have 4 directives. First one will be ODA common hash. The next one will be DB database hash, which, and and 2 services headers that should be added. So, briefly speaking, this header for the ODA common stuff. This is the DB database. This database will get the data that is read from the disk from a DWG file. All the data about the DWG model will be stored there, and not only model but auxiliary information as well. And the services headers are necessary actually to perform reading from the disk to a DB database. Thus, we need to perform 2 more steps. What we need to do? We need to create the services, perform initialization. Do not to forget about uninitialization at the end, and in between, add the actual application logic that will be implemented. So let's do it. To ease our work with the services, we will create my services class. Extremely simple. If you look through our examples, you will see that quite often, and I think in all examples, this class includes some overridden methods or some additional data. But for our simplified application, it's not necessary. You can adjust this class according to your needs and append whatever you need, basing on the examples, basing on the information in the documentation. It's up to you. But here we just pay attention that it is easy, and we need to create it for easier work. And the next step, initialization, as it was written. And here we need to create of this My Services class. Then we, from the initialization, as I said, better to do it immediately, to perform the uninitialization at the end. And to append and to implement some simple logic, we will do the following. We will pass to our console application some file, the name of this file, and to read, we will read it from disk and output some simple parameters. So for this, we need to add the following right here. So we have arguments now, and we read the file from the disk. The name of the file is the input parameter for our console application. So that's it. And let us have a look. Let us have a look now at the application before we build the application. As you remember, we added here the folder third-party activation. What it is done for? As I said, regular archives do not need activation on the end user. All you need when you work with regular archives, you need to download a special file from ODA site with your credentials and put it in third-party activation folder of your project on your working desktop, not on your not on your end user desktop, but only on your working desktop where you design and build the application. So to do it, you need to open this page, open design.com members activation, and here you see it will be necessary to input your login and password, and here you can see that you are able to generate an activation info file. All our SDKs are written in cross-platform C++, so it's possible to generate for C++, but as we have wrappers, C#, .NET, Java, and Python wrappers for major part of our SDKs, it's possible to design projects using these programming languages, and thus you can generate activation info files for those languages as well. But we will generate it for C++. And it will be necessary to copy it here in this folder. After it is added, it is possible to build our first test application. It is successful. If we try and run it, we won't get anything interesting, but just to ensure. And we will also need to input some DWG file name. It is possible to find a file right here. Here is this file, but as it contains a space in the name, I will use commas here. And if we run our application, you can see that there is a progress meter showing the progress of reading the file from disk and this test message. But of course, we are able to disable the progress meter because it's not necessary, I guess. And instead of this line, we can output something more related to the database. For instance, the name of the file that was passed. Or the version of the file. So let us rebuild the application. Now you see that we do not see the progress meter, but on the contrary, we get the name of the file that was input and the file version. Briefly, that's it. I hope that this will be a useful starting point to work with. Now I would like just going to the end, I would like to enumerate the resources that are available for you. Though these are our documentation, I've already showed that is available at docs.opendesign.com. I will append all the links to our chat. We also have a YouTube channel with playlists that include videos from our webinars, videos from our conferences, dedicated playlists with examples and examples overview or step-by-step guide of how to get started with some SDKs and similar things. So you'll be able to see the creation examples and other examples, not only for drawings SDK, but for other SDKs as well. So I'll place the link to our YouTube channel here as well. What else? We also have forum that is available for our trial and regular members. The forum is reviewed by our development team. As you see, there are many threads with many discussions, so probably you'll be able to find information about your purposes, about your goals, about your intentions already in some of these discussed threads, and the link to the forum will be appended here as well. And we also have an education portal. It's also a thing that should be mentioned. It references the webinar and how-to videos. Additionally, it has the FAQ link, and FAQ also is quite a useful tool, and about 10% of our support requests may be resolved using our FAQ tool. It's our current statistics, so do not hesitate to address it as well. And as also I mentioned, please do not hesitate to address our support because we are already all glad to answer your questions, any issues required. So briefly, that's it. I hope that was helpful. As a starting point, the record of this webinar will be available. So if necessary, you will be able to watch this later or share it with your team. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Have a nice day and stay safe. Stay safe. Goodbye.